Hey guys, just finished watching Marvelous Runaways, Season 2, Episode 2, Radio On. What an interesting episode this one was. It was kind of a fun episode. Still nothing too much going on. It is, again, another more down-to-earth episode. The first episode I didn't really like of this season just because it didn't really capture me into this season as much. This episode was a lot better than this in the first episode. I guess they assumed since they dropped all episodes at once, most people would be sitting down in one sitting and watching 2 episodes at least. And I think doing that is probably a little bit the way it kind of feels. Like the second episode is definitely the better episode, better than episode 1 for season 2. And it was a little bit more stuff that happened in here, whereas the first episode, nothing really took off. Things kind of didn't go anywhere too much. The ending is not much of a cliffhanger, whereas here the ending for this episode is, the cliffhangers not really big cliffhangers, less smaller cliffhangers and stuff, which I don't mind. You don't have to kind of force it and make the episode the whole write the whole show as one story, write the whole season as one story rather than every episode having to have a beginning, middle, and end in every episode, like a weekly show like Arrow, Flash, all those shows like that. They always have to have a cliffhanger at the end of the episode, always. Whereas this is kind of a little bit more refreshing. It's kind of this was a nice episode, but it didn't have like a huge cliffhanger. And I don't really need that for this episode. I think it was really good the way they did it. So we start off this episode, we pick right off from the last episode, and everyone wakes up from the earthquake, and Carolina's still hanging out with Jonah from the ending of the last episode, and that's when he kind of explains to her, shows her, or at least doesn't really show her how, but he kind of just explains to her that she can control her powers without her bracelet, and later on she even kind of loses her bracelet and doesn't really need it, so she no longer needs her bracelet whatsoever, at least it couldn't turn on powers on and off, right? Simple things like that, so that was kind of cool. And he tells her that she's going to meet her new family real soon, and I think that was kind of an interesting idea with that, because later on when she goes back and everyone starts looking for her, and then she just kind of shows up in the house and stuff, and when they start talking about how they got to start fighting their parents and stopping them from, closing the hole. And they don't know if the earthquake was it from the hole? Was it just an earthquake because we're in California, right? It's just so many different questions, about that earthquake, and seeing Carolina's kind of reactions to that, even though she didn't say anything, but you could tell that she was kind of wanting to say something. Like she's not 100% on board with, stopping everything. She kind of wants to see where things go because she wants to figure out who she is, what's going on, and where she's from. Is she completely an alien? Is her mother what is it, Catherine? I can't think of her name. What is it, Leslie Dean? Is she even? Is she even? Or, Carolina's mother, that she could be completely not at all, Carolina looked a lot like Leslie Dean. They cast them very well, as, mother and daughter and stuff, but, it could be a complete, fib that maybe, that Leslie didn't even know she wasn't her daughter, right? And I think that could be an interesting idea to see as to where things kind of go with that. But most likely, she probably is Leslie's daughter, but Carolina doesn't really know for sure 100%, right? So I think that's really going to be cool to see as to kind of where things go with that, and if the team, the Runaways, if they get to the point where they're kind of close to kind of, to stopping the Pride or anything, would Carolina ever kind of go against them? Kind of like how Chase did in the first season when they had the footage of the of Pride that could get, they could get put Pride away forever, and prove to everyone that they're murderers, right? The damning footage, right? And then Chase came around and smashed Alex's laptop, destroying the footage, right? Which, surprising, no one can't get the access to that footage, even though he braked it, but he didn't incinerate the laptop. You could still kind of sometimes get a little bit of data, right? Who knows? But I think it would have been interesting to see something like that. Would she be able to go that way when he wanted to kind of wanted to save Pride because Pride is the only thing keeping his father alive, right? So I think that's really going to be interesting to see as to where things go with that for Carolina. At what point does she kind of does she ever tell them that, hey, I want to see what's going on with this because it also affects me too, and then what is everyone's opinion on that, what is going to be Nico's opinion on this, especially since now they're kind of, looks like they're kind of dating, they clearly have a relationship throughout this episode, And I think that's really going to be cool to see as to kind of where things go with and what everyone's opinion is on that. So I think that's going to be interesting to see as to where things kind of go with that. So then we kind of, right after that, we see that, we see the team, Alex is like, yeah, I got to go off, do my thing. And they finally, the rest of them confront him about his secret, and he tells them that he's working for Darius and stuff. And I think that's kind of interesting. I'm glad that they kind of got that out of him. And then they never really see him for the rest of the episode. So I like kind of where things going with that, but I'm not sure I like that whole storyline of Alex and I mean, at the end it is, but I'll get that at the end. It's kind of the cliffhanger where the episode ends. But I think it's kind of interesting to see as to where things kind of go with that, but I'm not sure I'm liking the Alex storyline so far, but we'll have to wait and see. I like the Darius storyline from the ending of this episode, but not really the Alex storyline as to where things going, but we'll get to that when we get there. So we see someone is watching Pride. We see that Pride, they have this kind of secret room they were revealed in the first episode where they have like an algorithm going on, and he's kind of that's scanning like facial recognition, everyone looking for their kids, right? And they're all still in that room from the end of the last episode, and all of Pride's there, and then Tina says that someone has to stay there and watch the surveillance feed so that they could see, to see if anything pops up. Really, they're all billionaires, and it's unclear. They never mention. I don't think they're billionaires. Probably some of them are. They're all millionaires. It's unclear exactly who's the richest and how much. Stuff. But I mean, I imagine they're 100 millionaires, something like that. Do they have 900 million? Let's say they're millionaires, right? Let's say low millionaires. They don't have any way of taking this feed. They made this secret feed. They all look super smart, and they can't set the secret face surveillance stuff to just send them a text on their phone. We send them the information on their phone. That seems a bit weird. A bit weird. Yeah, maybe they need Victor Stein to do something like that, because he's more of the tech and stuff. But Janet Stein should still be able to kind of, they should be able to put this stuff together. And isn't Tina? She's like owns like an Apple company, owns all these new phones, right, and all that stuff. If I'm not mistaken, not really. Kind of, I forget who's running the phone. Who's the Steve Jobs of of Pride? There, kind of forgetting as to who is which. But still, I can't believe that Pride, of all these rich people and all these smart people that they are, and they all have a lot of knowledge and stuff, they can make this surveillance system just kind of send all of them a text on their phone. And so anytime the algorithm has something that that is 51% or anything that has a 10% match or whatever, anything that has like a over 50% match, then they just send everyone a message, like a group Facebook message or whatever, something like a group chat that the surveillance system sends sends information to, so they all get it instantly on their phones. I just don't see why they weren't able to set that up, and why someone had to kind of stay in the surveillance room. I just don't see why they had to do that. So I guess they wanted to do that just so that there's no story for Pride really in this episode, because Pride doesn't really do much. You got Joffrey, you got the Wilders kind of staying to watch to stay and watch the surveillance stuff, the system going on, but nothing else really happens. All the other members are part of the Runaways storylines, and Pride doesn't really have a story too much through this. They don't really do anything. Pride doesn't move forward with looking into who secretly looking into who Jonah is. They do a little bit at the end with Janet and looking into some book that she gets from Joffrey that has kind of weird writing in it. Although that book at the end, I really didn't understand how things were working. She had the book open, and there was kind of some projection stuff. Was that coming out of the book, or I assume it was coming out of the book, just like how Jonah and Carolina can glow. It looked like the same thing like that, but it could have also been the computer scanning things and all that stuff. Who knows? But yeah, I just kind of find that kind of a bit weird there. So we see that Nico, Carolina, and Molly end up going to Nico's house to kind of look for the Staff of One, and they get there, and Nico's father's there. Then we see Gert, we revert to Gert and Chase. They're at the house and trying to get the power back on. Chase ends up finding a Rolls Royce in there, and that's kind of interesting there. Maybe they can use that for something later on, but it's unclear if it's going to be starting. It looked like it was in somewhat okay condition, so maybe it could still start. That could be interesting to see as to where things go with that. I feel like they touched upon it and they brushed past it very fast, but I feel like it could come into play at some point. Who knows? To see where things go with that car there. That'll be interesting. We see Tina. We find out that Tina is home, and Gert and Chase, they're talking and stuff. They officially start dating type thing. Really, it's like, okay, it was an interesting moment. It was a nice moment, but okay, not really much moving on there other than them just kind of and seeing her dealing with not having her meds and stuff is kind of interesting. Hopefully it doesn't get too much annoying. It would be cool to see her kind of after a while learning to kind of deal with it, and maybe seeing him help her deal with it without using her meds, since people nowadays are so used to, especially someone like that, rich kids and stuff, so used to kind of just fixing everything with a pill and all that stuff. I think it's going to be interesting to see as to kind of where things, just to see her kind of overcome it, but not have it being too much of a disability too often. I think it could be interesting to see that, and it was really cool seeing Gert throughout this episode. Later on, she even learns to kind of control Old Lace a little bit, like where she can kind of, she's like, speak, and he speaks on command and is able to scare off the workers and stuff that came in. And I think that was kind of interesting playing with that. And it's really, like I said, slowly learning to use Old Lace as a superpower by using her more as a scalpel than rather than just as a chainsaw, right? And I think this was a step in that direction. I think that was really cool. So we see that Tina is home and she has the staff because, of course, she's not going to just, even if she left home, it was like, there's no way she leaves the staff there. If she takes off, she'll bring the staff with her. It can fit in her purse, right? It's so small, and all that stuff. So why would you, take it? So she's at home waiting for Nico to show up, and that's when they all start fighting, and it was really cool seeing the three of them attacking her, but they've never fought before. They never really kind of have. No one's trained and stuff, so they're all just kind of attacking her one by one, really not really doing anything. And I just kept wondering as to why, Tina didn't just kind of stand there and make a force field, or stand there and just kind of, why she needed to attack them. Really, she could just kind of, freeze them in their spot, right? And that's what she does. End up kind of launching Molly into the pool, and she freezes her in the pool. So that was really cool dealing with that. And that's when kind of, Carolina goes to go for it and goes to try and get Molly out of the water, and she kind of knocks her out. Tina knocks her out and stuff, and that's when Nico kind of throws at her that this is how what's her face there. Nico's sister died. It's because she was going crazy like this. She was being evil and all that stuff. So I think that was kind of interesting, and that's what kind of prompts her to kind of give Nico the staff, and even kind of seeing that as to where things kind of go. She gives her the staff to prove that she loves her, and she gives her the option to kind of like, hey, stay here and let's fix this, or if you leave, we're done. We're no longer a family, right? And I think that's really going to be interesting to see is kind of where things go with that. She gave her the staff to prove that she loves her, but there has to be some sort of back way in that. She has to have a way to, like, either one, track the staff, or two, she somehow sense the staff, because she has a connection, and Tina definitely has a connection to that, since she's probably used that so much. We even see Tina's father afterwards kind of saying that, we know what the staff's done to you, kind of hinting at there's something that going on with the staff, that it kind of, maybe it corrupted Tina a little bit, or it had created a bond or something. And I think that's really going to be interesting to see is kind of where things go with that. If Nico uses the staff too much, is it going to do anything? I think that's really going to be interesting to see that. Hopefully it doesn't. Have some sort of, like something like that, because I think that'd be kind of a bit of a bit cliche kind of thing to, like, oh, she can only use it a few times because the one thing, because it's because it's going to corrupt her, right? Every time she uses it, she gets bad things happen, right? And I hope that there's nothing like that, because I want to see her use this a lot, and I think it's really going to be cool to see different things like that. But we'll have to wait and see as to kind of where things go with that. And I can't believe that Tina. Even I get the idea that she is giving it to Nico to prove a point, to prove that she loves her, but at the same time, Tina has been such a like Tina definitely seems like the character to have a backup plan even for that. Yes, she's gonna give her the staff, but she must have a backup plan. And if we go back to the season 1, at the end of the season, when the Pride finds out that that their kids kind of know what's going on, know about Pride, and know all the dark secrets of Pride and all that stuff, and are trying to stop Pride, and then they kind of confront them at the dig site, and she kind of just pulls the staff to her, right? So she has some sort of connection there after using it a while, and I think that's going to be coming into play, and that she did not just give Nico the staff just to prove that she loves her. I feel like that's probably a big part of it, but she has to have her own another motivation part of it too. I think it can't be just that. I think there has to be more to that, her giving Nico the staff. I think that's really going to be interesting to see as to where things go with that. And Nico has to kind of, believe that. There's a reason why Nico didn't take that opportunity to go, yes, let me move in, let me fix this, or no, you've gone too far to fix this, right? I think that's really interesting to play with that. So we see that Alex, and then Nico starts to get frustrated later on, and we get to it with Carolina and stuff. So I think that she ends up yelling at Carolina, but they end up fixing it by the end of the episode. So we see Alex at this episode, throughout this whole episode, and a bit in the last episode, they set it up with Darius's friend Liv. And he's starting to fall for Liv and all that stuff, and that's the part that I kind of hate. I really don't like the Alex relationship. He's here to kind of fall. Like, there's really no reason why he's here. He's with Darius in this episode. Yeah, they need money in this and stuff, but they don't have a plan. He doesn't. Why do they need the money? They found a house to stay in. Chase gets the power on by the end of the episode. Why does he need to go to Darius to get money? Yes, money could be useful and they can do things, right? Yeah, okay, good, but everyone's kind of still looking for them, And yes, we do see Pride kind of talking about, we see Catherine Wilder kind of talking about how they might need to take their kids off the kind of wanted list, and stop making everyone looking for them and stop making them criminals, right? And undo that and frame someone else. But the kids don't know that, the Runaways don't know that. So why do they need to? I just don't understand as to why he needs to go to get more money from Darius. He got a bit of money last time, where he didn't use all the other. I'm assuming he gave him $1,000 or two, right? So he didn't use it all on the highest end sleeping bags. I mean, it sounds like he got only a certain amount of sleeping bags because Chase and Gert are using one between the two of them, right? And they said, like she said, they're doing it just for because they're low on supplies, right? So he didn't spend $2,000 on let's say they have $1,000, which I'm assuming he gave their last episode a bit more than $1,000. So let's say he gave him $1,000 to be on the lower end. There's no way he had $1,000 worth of stuff, sleeping bags and all that stuff. He must have kept some, right, for emergencies, right? So as to why he needs another $1,000 so soon, I don't understand that for this episode. And I really, like I said, don't like the kind of the storyline with him falling in love with Liv and all that stuff, and kind of where that's going. Why is he wasting his time with that? They've got so much stuff on the go, and things are kind of such a mess in their life. How come? Why is Alex kind of even thinking about this? This is why I think that, maybe they're doing that. He's a mole for Pride, right? Who knows? I think that could be an interesting idea, playing with that. But I mean, having if he is a mole, then that's maybe why he's comfortable and why he's doing this stuff with Dean and stuff, with Liv and stuff. But that whole storyline of him kind of falling in love with it just doesn't make sense to me, because he's on the run. He shouldn't be wanting to get intimate with someone or close to someone, because someone else that the Pride could threaten, right? She would have to come on the run with them, and why would he even risk that? It doesn't make sense to me as to that whole storyline, and I really just don't like as to where things are going with that. We see that Chase, like I said, gets the power on, and we see that Nico Caroline end up making up, after they calm down and stuff, and Nico kind of admits that she loves her, and she kind of lost it when she saw her mother, who's supposed to love her, hurt someone she loves and stuff. And I think that was kind of a good moment. It was really cool seeing them and making up and stuff. That was really good there. And at the end of the episode, we see Alex, he goes off, and Darius ends up calling Jeffrey Wilder, Alex's father, because he has Alex, right? And I think that's an interesting idea. And I think that's something that, Alex must be he's supposed to be the smartest person here. He must be, he must be seeing that. So I just don't see why he's risking all that stuff and risking all this stuff by dealing with him so often like this. And he's not really being smart about how he's doing this by every time just showing up at Darius' place all the time. It's a bit kind of dumb of him the way he's playing this whole. So I think this is going to be interesting to see as to where things go with that, because the storyline with him falling in love with Liv seems to tell me that maybe he is, with Pride, working with Pride somehow, and that's why he feels comfortable enough to even have to attempt, to feel for Liv, and not, all kind of messed up the way Gert is a little bit from being kind of on the run, right? Not all kind of anxious as to being on the run and all that stuff, and where things are gonna go, with Pride and all that stuff. But then you have Darius calling Joffrey as if, he's not in charge. Maybe Darius doesn't know that, Alex is maybe working with Pride. I think that could be interesting to see as to kind of where things go with this, and to how things kind of continue on with any of that. So, yeah, who knows what the wait and see as to where things go with all this. But I think it's going to be interesting to see as to kind of how things continue on in the next episode. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. What do you think about it? What was your favorite part? And I'll see you guys in the next episode, which I'm really excited for the next episode, because it sounds like Nico ended this episode pretty much to the rest of them, everyone except Alex, then that they need to start training, and I think that's really about time. They need to start training to use their powers in unison as a team rather as individuals, right? So I think that's really going to be cool to see them slowly kind of learning to do the different things. I think that's really going to be interesting to see as to where things kind of go with all this. So hopefully we can keep going on with this. I like to see where things are going with this. If I'm not mistaken, we have like 12 episodes, 13 episodes this season. So I think that's really going to be interesting to see kind of as to where things go for the rest of this season. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Sometimes
subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.